The Wrestler Film Analysis, the ups and downs of being a professional wrestler. Thank you. I'd like to thank you for watching this video and those who support my channel. I value your time and support very much, and I hope that you enjoy this video and share it with others. God bless. I grew up in the 70s and 80s watching Wrestling at the Chase on KPLR TV 11 in St. Louis, Missouri. And at that time, Wrestling at the Chase produced many of the most iconic wrestling personalities in the sport, familiar and not so familiar names such as the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Ted DiBiase, Pat O'Connor, King Kong Bruiser Brody, Bobo Brazil, Harley Race, Dick the Bruiser, Bulldog Bob Brown, and Rocky Johnson, all under legendary promoter Sam Muchnick, who co-founded and presided over the National Wrestling Alliance, or the NWA, throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I dedicate this video to Sam Muchnick, commentator Larry Matisic, Wrestling at the Chase, wrestling fans, and the wrestlers I grew up watching throughout the years.
Get funky like a monkey,
for nobody can stop me.
G brothers from the
shots him again. Crowd right hand right to the face.
This is the key. This is
my film analysis of Darren Aronofsky's 2008 film, The Wrestler, based on Robert Siegel's 2007 script of the same name. The Wrestler stars Mickey Rourke as Randy the Ram Robinson, Evan Rachel Wood as Stephanie, and Marisa Tomei as Cassidy. I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the Godfather of Cinema for more movie analysis and reviews in my playlist, Cinema Geeks. I would also appreciate it if you would leave a thumbs up and a comment to let me know what you think of this film analysis, and I would also appreciate it if you would hit the bell to be notified of more videos that I'll be uploading in the future. Why do some people believe in things that they know are not real? And why do some people disbelieve things that they know are real? In The Wrestler, aging over-the-hill wrestler Randy the Ram Robinson cannot let go of the past and his belief that a 20th anniversary rematch with the Ayatollah will put him back on top of his sport. One thing that Randy cannot get back, however, is time. For all that he has to show, from all of the blood, sweat, tears, passion, and love he sacrificed to the sport, and his fans after all these years are swollen joints, an old broken down trailer in a trailer park, a broken heart, and a grown daughter who hates him. And yet, in spite of these regrets, there is a woman named Cassidy. However, she won't let him take her out for a couple of beers. She treats him like she treats all of the other guys. She does not want him around her son, and she does not want him to call her by her real name, which is Pam. Why then does he like this woman so much, in spite of all signs pointing to the fact that she does not like him? At least not in the same way that he likes her. Because every time he sees her, she pretends like she is happy to see him, especially on those slow nights when she cannot get anybody else to pay her for a lap dance at the strip club. In this film analysis of The Wrestler, I will cover the following themes: customer service, or making it believable; roles; sacrifice; nothing personal; recap, customer service, or making it believable; recap, roles and role conflicts; and role rejection. Psalm 51 and verse 17. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. John 6 and verse 51. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. In the 4th chapter of the book of Genesis, Abel offers the firstborn of his flocks to God, while Cain, his brother, offers the fruits of the soil to God. Why then would God accept Abel's offering but reject Cain's offering? Hebrews 9 and verse 22 states that without the shedding of blood there can be no forgiveness. In Darren Aronofsky's 2008 sports drama, The Wrestler, a has-been professional wrestler named Randy the Ram Robinson prides himself on giving everything he has to make his fans believe that wrestling is real. However, as Randy's fans want to believe in something which they can obviously see is fake, Randy also wants to believe that a stripper named Cassidy really likes him. However, even after he runs off a group of customers for making fun of her age, and even though he can always be counted upon to pay her for a lap dance when other customers reject her because of her age, she won't let him take her out, kiss her, or get to know her outside of the club. Randy goes out of his way to make Cassidy feel like she is an important person, but in return she treats him like any other customer. Unlike her, Randy always goes the extra mile to make his fans feel like they are more than just fans to him. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said in regard to his estranged daughter, as having his picture taken with his fans at a VFW hall is more important to him than making his daughter feel like she is important to him also by taking a few minutes to talk to her prior to a match. More on this later. In sociology, a social role is what we expect from people according to their social position or status. For instance, we don't expect someone with a low professional position and title of a janitor to be intelligent, while on the other hand, we do expect someone with a high professional position and title of a doctor to be exceptionally intelligent.
Oh, give me an anesthetic, Doc. What color?
Additionally, we expect cops to be fair, men to be physically and emotionally strong, women to be physically and emotionally weak, submissive, to have children, and to know how to cook. So it is easy to see how limiting people to roles we expect them to have makes it difficult to see those people in different ways. Because customers in the strip club only see Cassidy as a stripper, it never crosses their minds that she may also be a mom.
Got a kid.
You have a kid?
Nor does it occur to the men devaluing her because of her age in the VIP room that she may also be a human being with emotions like themselves. And because Wayne only sees Randy as a wrestler, but not as a father, a man who just had a heart attack, or a man like himself with pride, Wayne is insensitive to Randy's feelings, ordering him out of his office to knock on the door to re-enter his office. Additionally, Wayne cracks a homophobic joke about Randy sitting on another wrestler's face. Randy bears all of Wayne's insults without protest until he finally becomes fed up with Wayne, the customers at the deli counter, and lashes out. More on this later. Cassidy has no problem distinguishing who she really is from who she pretends to be in the strip club, as her real name is Pam and not Cassidy. Customers don't pay her to share her personal life with them, nor do they pay her to tell them about her son. What customers do pay her for is getting buck naked, sliding down a pole, and dancing on the stage. And if she was looking for a personal relationship anyway, she would not use a fake name name like Cassidy, but her real name, which is Pam, and she definitely would not go looking for a relationship in a strip club. However, as she is still a human being, separating who she really is from what she does in the strip club can be difficult. Matthew 26 and verse 41. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. She should have thanked Randy for defending her from the men making fun of her in the VIP room. However, instead of thanking him as he expected her to, she curses him out for ruining her opportunity to make $200. As far as she is concerned, the men had not insulted her because they do not know her. Rather, they had insulted Cassidy, a fake person who only exists in the strip club. And in another scene, Randy enters the strip club like an angel of light again, coming to her rescue, as it is a slow night, at least for her, due to the fact that most customers prefer younger strippers to older ones like herself. However, tonight he throws her a curveball. He did not come by the strip club to pay her to give him a lap dance. He came by the strip club because he needs her to listen to him talk about his problems. At first, Cassidy reminds him that she cannot leave the club to talk to him because he is a customer. But after Randy tells her that he had a heart attack a week ago, she makes an exception to her customer policy and follows him out of the club to talk in the privacy of his van, where he tells her that she is the only person he wanted to see when he got out of the hospital, that his heart is not strong enough for him to wrestle anymore, and that he is scared, lonely, and needs her support. But Pam is too strong to be tricked into accepting a role that is not for her benefit, but for his benefit. Their relationship is based on business, and she cannot allow herself to become personally involved with him. By now you would think that Randy would give up on trying to trick Pam into believing that she is really Cassidy, a stripper, as he believes that he is Randy the Ram in and out of the ring, and that he is not just another customer. Instead of discouraging him, though, Cassidy's rejection makes Randy even more determined to prove to her that he really likes her and wants to get to know her, even though he knows nothing about her at all. More on this later. Be it his youth, his wife and daughter, his scarred and broken body, his blood, his bad heart, or even his life, Randy goes all out for his fans, while Cassidy, on the other hand, may greet Randy with a smile and a kiss on the cheek. She may listen to Randy and offer him encouragement, and she may give him a lap dance, but when it comes to her private life, her son, her real name, or her heart, Cassidy does the minimum of what her job calls for her to do, as Randy does the minimum of what his job at the deli counter calls for him to do. Again, remember that God accepted Abel's blood sacrifice, but at the same time rejected Cain's sacrifice, which was not of blood but of the ground. People do not go to strip clubs or deli seeking relationships, and for this very reason, Cassidy cannot give Randy her heart because he is only a customer. The customer is always right. Be it a pasta salad, chopped liver, or exactly 1 pound of German potato salad, and if he has to cut himself with a razor blade in order to fake a turnbuckle head injury, or let another wrestler named Hellbilly Cannibal body slam him on broken glass and barbed wire, or have a heart attack, Randy gives his fans exactly what they pay him for, such as blood and seeing him and other wrestlers beat the living hell out of each other. His fans fans, however, don't reciprocate the love he shows them by going to see him in the hospital, nor do his fans show up to support him at the autograph show, because this, unfortunately, is real life, and Randy's fans don't pay to see, nor do they want to see real life. They pay to see a fantasy, and they want him to make them believe that the fantasy that they are paying to see is real. Cassidy may listen to Randy, offer words of encouragement, let him buy her a drink, and she may kiss Randy on the cheek. Cassidy may even pretend that Randy is more than a customer, even though he isn't. Again, let's return to the scene in which he barges into the VIP room like the White Knight to rescue her from a group of men making fun of her age. Instead of thanking Randy for chasing the rude man away, she curses him out for messing up her chance to make $200. And when Randy stops by the strip club to let Cassidy know about the heart attack he suffered a week earlier, she opens up a harsh can of whoop-ass reality that she is only pretending to like him. She also reminds him that she is a stripper and cannot allow herself to go any further with him than that. As I pointed out earlier in this analysis, professional wrestling has been Randy the Ram Robinson prides himself on how far he is willing to go in and out of the ring for his fans. For instance, he'll inject steroids directly into a butt cheek, tan himself at a spa, bleach his hair at the beauty salon, cut his forehead with a razor blade, and he will even put his heart and life on the line by coming out of retirement for a rematch with the Ayatollah at Madison Square Garden. And yet, for all of the real sacrifices he makes for his fans in the fake world of professional wrestling, Randy won't make any real sacrifices for his daughter in the real world. Even going by her house after his heart attack is fake, because he only does so because he is afraid of being completely alone after Cassidy, whom he told about his heart attack first, sent him packing to his daughter. And even though Stephanie sees right through his fake apology for abandoning her and her mother when he was young and on top of the world, she agrees to have dinner with him. However, being that his heart belongs first to wrestling and his fans, Randy misses dinner with his daughter for the opportunity to referee a match between Booker D and McBride in a high school gymnasium, proving again in this scene that he won't make any real sacrifices for his daughter, and yet he also cannot seem to understand why she won't accept him as his fans accept him. Earlier I explained how social roles make it difficult for people to see us differently. Once Randy takes the job as a deli clerk, his true and real self becomes insignificant to consumers, as older strippers like Cassidy are insignificant to horny men who objectify strippers as younger women with perfectly shaped bodies. Therefore, fed up with both Wayne and his social role behind the deli counter, Randy jams his thumb into the meat slicer. Here, take note of Wayne's fake concern for Randy's injury, which is an obvious attempt to impress upon his customers that he is more concerned about his employees' well-being than he is about losing business. Sociologist Irving Goffman would describe Wayne's phony concern for Randy's injured hand in this scene as impression management, which is the altering of the presentation of the self in order to create appearances to satisfy particular audiences. Up to this point in The Wrestler, Randy has been invisible to customers at the deli counter who are only there to buy his meat and who only see him as a means of supplying them with meat. But now, seeing the real blood pouring out of the real wound of his thumb, the shocked customers who moments before had objectified him are now compelled by his act of self-inflicted violence to see him as he is and not for what they need him to be for the first time, as it is by metaphorical extension, his wounds and blood in the ring that connects him to his fans. You are the supervisor of a company and you have an employee who is late almost every day, does not get along with her coworkers, or complete her work in a timely fashion. You have no problem disciplining other employees. However, because you and this aforementioned employee hang out together after work, she attended your mother's funeral, and you invite each other to family get-togethers, disciplining this employee may not only hurt her feelings, but also end your friendship. If one social position or status is a social role, two or more social positions or statuses in opposition to each other is a role conflict. Cassidy struggles every day to separate who she is in the real world from what she does in the strip club. In order to keep both of these opposing worlds from overlapping, she will not allow herself to forget that Randy is a customer in spite of her emotions. Even though Cassidy is always about business with Randy, she agrees to meet him at a vintage shop called Yesterday's in Westfield to help him pick out a present for his daughter. As a gesture of appreciation, he gives Cassidy his Randy the Ram action figure for her son. And being that this action figure is a collector's item and very valuable to Randy, Cassidy feels obligated to have a beer with him at a small bar where Randy drops a quarter into the jukebox and treats her to a lap dance. Proverbs 23 verses 1 through 3. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, observe carefully what is before you and put a knife to your throat if you are given to appetite. Do not desire his delicacies, for they are deceptive food. Good 1980s rock and roll combined with Randy's spontaneous lap dance causes Cassidy to forget about her hands-off policy, and when they finally kiss, he goes from being a customer to a man and she, a stripper to a woman, and yet, in spite of her attraction to Randy, Cassidy finds the strength to remember that her real name is Pam and not Cassidy, and that she is not a stripper but a woman and mom to a 9-year-old boy. Cassidy backs away from Randy, finishes her beer, and reminds him that she is not allowed to have contact with the customers. And later, Randy stops by the strip club to thank her for helping him pick out a present for his daughter. However, when he asks her out on a date, she decides that enough is enough and lets him have it. No, she can't go out on a date with him because he is just a fucking customer. Also, Cassidy is not her name. Her real name is Pam, and this is not the real world. This is a strip club, which also happens to be her job and not her life. Cassidy's outburst and brutal honesty catches Randy by surprise. How can she still think of him as a customer after all that they have been through together? She now reminds him of customers at the deli counter who only see him as a worker. Which takes us back to Randy's difficulties in being a professional wrestler, a father, and a deli worker, all at the same time. John 15, verse 18 and 19. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. Cassidy's business-like attitude frustrates Randy because he wants her to see him as a person instead of some horny customer who is only interested in a piece of meat. He really wanted to know the real Cassidy, whose real name is Pam, and her 9-year-old son. So, having struck out with Cassidy, Randy tries his luck with Stephanie, his daughter, because he is afraid and lonely after having a heart attack and being told by his doctor that he cannot wrestle anymore. Winning her faith and trust are difficult. However, after he buys her a second-hand jacket and takes her for a walk along the Jersey Shore, Stephanie opens up to him. But after he takes on a referee gig, instead of meeting her for dinner, she returns the jacket he gave her and cuts him out of her life for good. And as if being rejected by Cassidy and his daughter aren't enough, Randy returns to the grocery store to face a mob of impatient customers at the deli counter, pressuring him to slice their meat faster. And when he deliberately jams his thumb into the meat slicer, all of the frustration pent up inside of him comes gushing out.
You're fucking cheese.
So, Randy leaves the grocery store, the real world, and calls up wrestling promoter Nick Volpe to tell him that yes, he'll return to the ring to wrestle the Ayatollah for their 20th anniversary rematch, and yes, his bad heart can take it. It has to take it, because the wrestling ring is the only place where he can bleed, fall, get up, fall, get up, fall again, cry, and sometimes win. Unlike Cassidy, his daughter, and customers at the deli who all reject him, his fans in the so-called fake world of professional wrestling love and accept him as a flawed but real human being, the very thing that he cannot be in the so-called real world. Director Darren Aronofsky originally picked Nicolas Cage to play Randy the Ram Robinson in The Wrestler, with the director claiming that Cage left the project after finding out that the director wanted Mickey Rourke, a claim that Nicolas Cage disputed by asserting that he left the project because he didn't have enough time to build his body up for the role. In Rourke, Aronofsky had not only the body of the film's main character, but his pathos as well. Touted as a sex symbol and one of the best up-and-coming actors in the late 80s and early 90s, Mickey Rourke fell out of favor with Hollywood after developing the reputation for being difficult to work with. He tried his hand at boxing in 1991 but soon quit after developing neurological problems. Rourke admits to having extensive plastic surgeries on his face in order to correct previous plastic surgeries for boxing-related injuries. Initially, Rourke did not want to make the movie because he felt that it hit too close to home, especially because he had the same conversation with his own estranged father that he has in the film with actress Evan Rachel Wood, who plays his daughter Stephanie. This and other emotional traumas in Rourke's repertoire of life experiences is exactly why Aronofsky wanted him to play Randy the Ram Robinson. In an interview with CNN, Aronofsky said that the main emotional thread between Rourke and his fictional character in The Wrestler is the fact that they were both broken and full of regrets, as Aronofsky himself was broken by the box office failure of his 2006 film The Fountain. Retired professional wrestler Afa Anoa'i was hired to train Mickey Rourke to wrestle. Other aspects of physically preparing for the role consisted of resistance training and cardio. By the time he'd achieved the muscle and look for his role, many of Mickey Rourke's trainers felt that he was better than most of the professional wrestlers in the WWF at that time. The juxtaposition of 80s rock and roll and hip-hop in the film reflects Randy the Ram Robinson's preoccupation with his past, his alienation from the present, as well as his inability to separate who he is in real life from his fictional wrestling character, as well as his inability to separate reality from his imaginary relationship with the stripper named Cassidy. The Wrestler was a critical success, and my favorite critic, Roger Ebert, called it one of the year's best films, in a year of exceptional films such as Inglourious Basterds, the animated film Up, The Hurt Locker, Milk, Avatar, and District 9. Many professional wrestlers also liked The Wrestler. For instance, the late Rowdy Roddy Piper cried after seeing the film, and WWE star Mick Foley said that he was not only hooked in the first minute, but that he also forgot that Mickey Rourke was an actor and not a real professional wrestler. But Mick Foley also tempered his admiration for the wrestler, stating that the film was a misinterpretation of professional wrestling. And finally, as a sports film, I rank The Wrestler with the first Rocky film and Martin Scorsese's 1981 film Raging Bull. I also rank Mickey Rourke's acting in The Wrestler among the best acting performances ever. Thanks for watching my analysis of The Wrestler, and if you liked it, I would appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, hit the bell to be notified of future videos, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.